a tribute to Nelson and putting together a group of people that will help facilitate that thinking.
We're joined together by a friend of mine, Tom O'Connell. He's an authorized infinite banking practitioner. He's got over 30 years helping high net worth families protect and grow their wealth.
My goal, my personal goal, is to outlive my insurance policy. I wish I did more. So supposedly, scientists are saying the first person to live to 150 years old is alive today. They don't know who it is. That's why they do underwriting. But they say that that person is alive. My goal, my personal goal, is to outlive my insurance policy. In the US, now they pay out at 121. Your life insurance policy matures at 121. So, I would probably donate the check to my daughter, but I would love to be able to get that check from the insurance company saying, you know what, you're too old. We have to pay you out.
They talk about the importance of having big goals. That's a big goal, right?
And that's a big. I would be doubling my life here on Earth right now. So
I'm with you on that, and I hadn't considered it before I joined Strategic Coach, and I didn't know about Strategic Coach until I became part of the Nelson Nash Institute because somebody mentioned it. I'm like, wow, Strategic Coach, that sounds cool. What's that? And then a bunch of people are in it, so I learned all about that and the idea of a longevity mindset. And so, literally, I have this book on my desk here, which is a great book, and I'll do a shout out for it. And it's Peter Diamandis, The Longevity Guidebook. So here's a guy, he's a futurist. He has a great podcast with Dan Sullivan called, I think it's called Exponential Wisdom. And it's all about future thinking, a lot of tech and longevity kind of aspects. But he's involved in everything that's about extending the human lifespan. I'm like, so, if you can change your thinking around that, and then you realize that there's a potential or possibility, then you also have to start thinking, okay, well, what do I need to do so that I can enjoy that extended lifespan? And it's not just what you need to do financially and what habits, it's the people that you surround yourself with. It's the people that you think about continuing to grow relationships with, because if you're growing and aging up, everyone's aging up with you. And so are you also intentionally making connections with the youth, whatever that relevance point for you is, because they bring in a youthful energy, they bring in a different mindset, there's mentorship, there's coaching that's available there. So those are fulfilling activities. All of that brings and lends more purpose to your life. And so this doesn't have a direct connection to infinite banking, but it has an indirect one. And where I see that, Tom, for me, and I'd love to get your perspective on this, is through the actions of Nelson himself. I really truly felt like I had a mentorship relationship with him, though I didn't speak to him maybe as frequently as other people did. Anytime I did get that, it was like an incredible experience. And so he really vested in other people, and he was extremely intentional about finding younger individuals. Granted, he had a lot of people that were younger than him at the point in time that I got to know him. But he would just light up like a Christmas tree when he got to invest and he would see younger people come into an event. Sometimes you would go to session that Nelson was, someone was hosting Nelson, and there would be teenagers there, like parents bringing their teenagers around, and they're getting it right away. They're participating in the discussion. Man, Nelson just loved that activity.
How would you like to see a 91-year case study that we put together to explain how this infinite banking thing can work for a family over 2 generations? Well, you know what? Real easy to do that. We have that right in our second book, Cash Follows the Leader. You can get a copy for free delivered right to your inbox. Head on over to cashfollows.com. That's cashfollows.com and pick up a copy right now.
Yeah, he loved being able to see. I mean, he's a Forster. He envisioned second and third generations I think in everything that he did, whether it was speaking, living his life, his business life, whatever it was. I mean, I think he really lived that, generational thinking all the time. And I told the story on the Nelson Nash Institute podcast that I did with David and Lee. I held an event that Nelson and Bob and Carlos and David came to and did. And at the time, my daughter was really young, and we all went out to dinner. And then my daughter and I took Nelson back to the hotel. And as we were leaving, Nelson hugged Emma and said, "I love you." And so when we got into the car, she was like, I don't even know him. And that, and he hugged me and said, I love you. I said, that's just the kind of guy that Nelson is. And he means it, and it was just that, and that's the spirit of Nelson. To me, I'm like you, I probably should have done more with them. I know people that probably called them every week from our group. Me, it wasn't that often, but I look back and I wish I did more. And so I hope that when if other advisors in our organization are watching this, they know that, hey, we're there for them. Especially I love seeing these 20 and 30-year-old kids coming into our organization now, and I call them kids because they are to me, right? But I think it's phenomenal that they're taking an interest in it now, and that they're not brainwashed into a lot of the old ways of thinking that maybe were pushed on us. The old, you have to invest money, you have to put your money at risk. There's no guarantees. You have to do this. You have to. Nah, they're willing to listen, learn, and um, even the younger kids are saying, "Hey, my kids." They might not even have kids yet, but they're thinking, "My kids," and I think it's just again a tribute to Nelson and putting together a group of people that will help facilitate that thinking.
Enjoyed this conversation? Watch the full conversation by clicking right here. Or if you want to see more amazing clips just like this, go ahead and click here.